Hello, my name is TildaKorolyArt and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If this isn't welcome back, hi, my name is Tilda and this is my art channel. So if you're someone who's really into art, I highly recommend you click that subscribe button and don't forget to click on the notification bell so you won't ever miss when I upload. In my last video, I drew the golden trio from Harry Potter for Halloween. And I'm still really happy with how it turned out. But something I talked about a lot in the video was character design. And not only that, but how shapes can be used in character design. So today I was thinking of drawing 3 different characters, one for each shape: a circle, a square, and a triangle. I wanted to show how these shapes can be used in a character design without making it too obvious. If that makes any sense. Like, the character doesn't have to be made up by perfect squares only. If they were, they might end up looking like a Minecraft character. So, without any further ado, let's get right into this video. First, we got the circle. I begin by sketching up the pose with a pinkish red color, as always. I then try to figure out what I want to do with the hair and clothes. Just a quick tip for you all, to sketch in a color is usually not better per se, but it has its benefits. For me, I find it somewhat easier to sketch in this type of red since black reminds me of line art, so it immediately gives me more freedom in a sense that I'm more loose when sketching. And also, if you do your line art on a different layer, it helps a lot since you won't accidentally mix the 2 layers up. I'm kind of like figuring out the character as I go. My only guideline is the circle. And since circles are often associated with kind, bubbly, and caring characters, I tried my very best to convey that into my character design. I don't want to repeat myself too much, so if you haven't watched my last video, I link it in the top right corner. Now I've laid down the flat colors on different layers before merging them into one. As you can see, I've used a lot of circles in this girl's design. I've given her space buns, big wide open eyes, and round earrings. Not only that, but I built up her entire body by using circles and ovals, which ends up giving her a more soft look. The colors weren't really planned out either. I just tried a few ideas and went with what I thought worked best. But I do tend to either use complementary colors and or analogous colors. Is that how you pronounce it? Analogous? And if that made absolutely no sense at all, I'll try to explain it a little better. So you know the color wheel, right? Basically, complementary colors are the colors opposite of each other on the color wheel. For example, blue and orange or red and green. Analogous colors are the 3 colors closest to each other, like blue, violet, and purple. And color can say a lot about a character as well. In anime, for example, their hair and eye color, as far as I've understood it, usually tells a lot about the character's personality. So, to rewind a little bit and get back to my drawing, I'm just finishing up the character, adding the final details and so on, like in the hair and that kind of stuff. Anyway, I'm now finished with my first character design. What do you think her name would be? Tell me in the comments. Next up is the square. Honestly, I'm more used to drawing girls and I do prefer it more, but I thought at least one male character should appear in this video. And squares are, to me at least, a more masculine shape. Does that make sense? Like most characters I've seen that are based on squares, not all, but most, are usually men. Just like how the circle is seen as kind and gentle, the square is usually associated with strength, stubbornness, and kind of down to earth. After my first design, I decided to go with a school theme. So right now I'm making an athletic character, the school jock. So of course he needs the classic leather jacket. I should probably point out that I'm not American, so I'm from Sweden, so what I know about schools in the US is mostly taken from movies and TV shows. Anyway, moving on. I've tried to use the square in his design without making him look too blocky. His head is shaped like a square, as is his torso. I've also tried to use his hair to make him look more square, as well as his pose. To me, I think his stance gives the illusion of a rectangle, which in character design is just a long square, so that counts. I should probably point out also that just because the character is based on a shape, like a square or a triangle, does not mean the character has to be pointy. You know what I mean? For example, his head is square-shaped, but the edges are soft. Of course, it's different if it counts as an art style. Like, someone might love the look of really sharp edges, so they incorporate that into their work. But if it's done wrong, it might just end up looking like something from Minecraft. Unless that's exactly what you're going for, no judgment here. But I thought it would be worth mentioning in case any of you weren't aware of that and want to get into character design. If you haven't seen my last video, I mentioned a few examples of how these shapes can be found in different Disney characters, in case you're interested and would like to know more. It's really interesting, and if you want to look up more, you can just search on shape language on Google and read some more about the subject. As you can see, I'm done. What do you think his personality would be like? Lastly, we got the triangle. The triangle is usually associated with the villainous characters, so why not make the school's mean girl by using this very shape? I think this is the shape I use the most in comparison to the other two designs. I made her hips more triangle shaped, I made her head more triangle shaped, I made her lips and eyes triangle shaped, I made her hair triangle shaped. Well, you get it. I use this shape a lot. And even though I used it as much as I did, I honestly don't think it looks like she's too triangle-y. Most likely not a word, but let's pretend that it is. So at first I thought about going for that cheerleader vibe, you know, the classic popular girl concept, but I ended up going for a more academia kind of look, with the turtleneck and the brown color palette. I mean, I already did the jock, so going for a cheerleader might have been too obvious. Although she might be a cheerleader, I don't know. What do you guys think? What kind of mean girl do you think she is? To add a pop of color, since her palette is pretty much all muted colors, I decided to add in some light blue. Of course, I have her holding a phone because this girl is definitely always on social media looking up the latest trends and posting selfies. Something I should mention is the fact that her hair and earrings are kind of melting together due to the similar shade of yellow. Usually this is a no-no, all about values and stuff. I'm not as educated on that subject, but I am aware that having values too close to one another is bad because it just makes the drawing look like a big blob from far away. But I just love that blonde color on her, as well as that particular shade of golden yellow. I just didn't have the heart to change it. So instead I made sure to use the black line art to separate the two from each other. And this is also one of the most important things in a character design. Make sure your colors work. You don't have to know all of the fancy stuff, but you can't make the colors clash or basically make them melt together. Same with line art. It's very important when making a character. Not what brush you use and yada yada, but make sure you're aware of where the line goes. This applies to all drawing in general. To explain it as simply as I can, imagine drawing hair, right? Just normal straight hair. And the end of that line meets the very edge of the shoulder. It's not like it's a crime, but it does make it look kind of weird and like something's not right. I really hope that made some sort of sense. I tried my best to explain it, and maybe worked, maybe not. Anyway, so we've reached the very end of this video. I really hope you like it. And here is the very final results with all of the characters together. Tell me what you think their names should be down in the comments. I'm really curious to hear what you all come up with. As always, thank you all so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this type of content, I recommend you click that subscribe button, and while you're at it, don't forget to click that notification bell so you won't ever miss when I upload. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at TildaKorolyArt, and I'd love it if you'd follow me on there as well. Once again, thanks a bunch for watching my video, and I'll see you in my next one. Goodbye!